Well, we are joined by a very special guest today, a man who did, in fact, find our studio yesterday. And we are going to talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks possibly pursuing the one, the only Tatsuya Imai from Japanese NPB. Also, which of the Rule 5 eligible players will the Diamondbacks target in the draft? All of this in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. SkeeYee, and welcome into another edition of the PHNX Diehard Cogs podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It is I, your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Montilla, and again, I am thrilled to be joined by our special guest, someone who has been part of this show since its inception in a very small but special way. One of our favorite guests and listeners, Cogs. Cogs is here. Cogs did in fact find the studio. We gave him very few clues, but I still feel like I gave him entirely too many clues. Way too much to have to get you here.
I walked almost 6 miles yesterday for 3 hours.
Earned it.
And it was like maybe a 10-minute walk from my dorm.
Yeah.
So
well, sometimes good things come to those who wait. So thank you so much for being here. And as always, we also have the one, the only, the incomparable Damon Dog on the ones and twos today.
Yo.
Damon Fairall. He is the cafe to my con leche. I'm the leche today. But this show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Make sure to go download the Game Time app right now if you haven't done so already. Sign up, create that account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your already low ticket purchase. Terms do apply. And yes, it is very, very good to see so many of you guys here. Old friends. Great to see Big Jake here. Nicholas, Zabe. Great to have you guys here. That's the Cogs effect right there. Cogs, you want to tell everybody a little bit about your history covering this Diamondbacks team? I mean, you do have spreadsheets that you showed me this morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's extensive. There's everything on his computer.
Yeah, when Derek walked in, I was sitting in the lobby updating my every MLB free agent spreadsheet. I have all of them, and I add more that I don't have on that list. I'm tracking trades. I have free agent predictions, whatever. But I've been covering this team in a non-official way for the past 2 years. I was the host of the Pulse Sports Triple Play. It was a Diamondbacks-based radio show for the past 2 years on 88.7 FM, which was it's now a 2-time award-nominated show. Won second place at the John Drury High School Radio Awards. It was just announced as a finalist at the IBS Awards. I was 2025's High School Broadcaster of the Year. Little flex.
Wow.
But,
wow, flexing.
But yeah, I've been doing sports talk for a couple of years now, and I'm excited to finally, get on camera. I'm usually behind a microphone, no camera.
Yeah, well, we are very excited to have you. And yes, as our pal Ogre McFubin says, Cogs Spreadsheets is here. It just taking over for Jesse until Jesse is back around. But we do have a big major league scandal out there, I guess you could call it, something that continues to hang over baseball, something that Rob Manfred had to address, and that is this gambling scandal involving some of the dumbest things we've ever seen. I mean, quite frankly, we thought what happened with Andrew Saalfrank getting suspended the way he did was one of the dumber things we've seen due to the petty amount of it and the unnecessary risk that he took with his career. However, now we have one of the biggest, brightest stars, one of the best relievers in all of baseball, who was making a ton of money, jeopardizing not only his career, which is now over, most likely, as well as his freedom is most likely over. So again, with the Emmanuel Clase situation, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred on Wednesday was asked about this whole situation and said the league did not anticipate any further restrictions on baseball prop bets after prominent U.S. sportbooks recently established a nationwide $200 betting limit on individual pitches and banned those bets from inclusion in parlays to curtail the motivation for manipulation. It's almost, Cogs, like as if they did not see in any way, shape, or form the possibility of players potentially involving themselves in fraud to have bets go to get bets to cash.
Yeah, I mean, people have been throwing baseball games for years. It was
Right.
There's a whole movie about a big baseball scandal during the World Series that happened because they were throwing games. They've just made it so much more accessible, I think is the word that we said earlier.
Yeah. You have an app and you can do it. Anybody can do it, right? And again, this isn't anything against sports betting in general, right? Like,
yeah.
But it is more accessible now than ever. It's legal everywhere. Like you can just you have so many states that have legalized it, and it's not really the sports like gambling fault as much as it's like, again, like this is something that should have been foreseen as far as what precautions can we take to keep this from happening. You know, that's the bigger thing here. Like, there is no reason why you should be so naive to think that players were not going to get caught up in this type of scandal. I know that they tried their best to do everything to, warn players and put, rules in place and consequences in place. However, again, this is one of those things where it can be very hard to prove whether or not a pitcher was fixing his pitches, right? Pitchers are a creature of habit. So again, if you are a savvy sports gambler and you are able to bet on prop bets, there's a good chance that you could be pretty good at perhaps predicting. But when you're betting like obscene amounts of money, live betting during a game on pitches and then hitting those, there is going to be some suspicion that's generated. I think maybe due to the accessibility of it simply being an app in your pocket, people don't think that is going to set off red flags for the company that they're using as whatever company that they're betting through.
Yeah, I mean, it took a pretty obvious and egregious miss from Manuel Clase for them to be like,
right,
hey, maybe we should look into this. But
right.
If that's what it took, who knows how many players could be doing it right under our noses?
Well, and Clase was also facilitating it, right?
Yes.
That's part of the charges, was that he was the one that was getting like Luis Ortiz involved and things like that.
Yeah.
So like there's some culpability there too, where you were just a little bit more than a cog in the a cog in the machine, right? You were actually somebody that was part of a way of the fraudulent scheme by simply being the facilitator from the people that are paying you to one of your teammates that you are trying to get to also do the same fixing of games that you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, to throw away your career for, I believe it was $12,000 or $13,000, when in the grand scheme of things,
stupid.
Emmanuel Clase was
stupid.
He was already set to make at least $20 million guaranteed until he get free agency, where he would have probably made upwards of $100 million at the caliber. He's probably the best reliever of this decade so far. And it's crazy.
It's crazy. I think it's crazy because, again, these players, they work their whole lives to get to this point, right? And again, to throw it all away for that. I also think that there is something to be said about the fact that baseball players have, especially elite baseball players like Emmanuel Clase. I don't know his history, so I'm literally just speculating here. But elite baseball players tend to live a life where their entire life has been dedicated to baseball, and in doing so, you are not involved at times in the same exposure to fraudulent, bad people that the rest of us are in life just in general. You are protected from that. You're kind of like, and you're a good kid growing up because you're involved in sports and you're kind of out of that stuff. And I feel like, again, there is the possibility, because you haven't exposed yourself to that, to this being an easy sell for some players where, again, it's, the consequences aren't being thought through. Not just the consequences of your future in baseball, but the consequences of, in general, like I said, your freedom, right?
Yeah.
Like going to prison for up to 65 years is whatever. And Groundhog Mama brings up a great point. She says, what about if a player gets threatened by gamblers? There's that too. That's another absolute danger out there, right? There needs to be precautions and safety measures put into place where a player is able to get MLB involved in order for them to rescue them or help in some way from that situation, right? Like that's absolutely something that could occur, especially with, again, the families of certain players are in areas where they might not necessarily be able to be protected. They might not be in the United States. And in general, again, just due to how far away and the nature of whatever country they live in, that is an actual danger out there, right? It's really the oddness of this situation is like addressing the fact that it's like just prop bets, right? And I mean, I don't know what kind of safety measures need to be put in place, but Rob Manfred said here, and I quote, "I think the most important undertaking and really the bedrock of our relationship with the sports book is the ability to monitor betting activity." And like, that's it, right? Because everybody's going to hit on bets. Everybody's going to miss on bets. Most of us, like Damon and I, miss more than we hit for sure. But
Whoa.
hey, let's be real here. We're getting real here, pal. But the point
It's been a bad run, Derek. It's been a bad run.
Damon and I aren't tuning into a game and live betting on, like Damon, like live betting on football, as he calls it. It's soccer, football. But like if he would like live bet 10 minutes before a particular player scored, and he would bet $5,000 on that player, and then he scores, right? That is going to set off some alarms within that sports book that you bet on. Now, there's always the possibility that was an earnest bet. But if Damon does that 5 more times, you can bet your butt that he is going to get a little visit from maybe somebody at the FBI or something.
Yeah, I mean, this has always been kind of the conundrum with it, I feel like, where it's like the idea that like we're going to ban the pitches from being bet on. I get it, but also the system kind of found the problem, did it not? Like it immediately was like, this guy's betting $10,000 on the first pitch of Emmanuel Clase to be a ball.
Yeah.
And that's an insane amount of money to put on a bet like that. Now we're going to look into his background. Oh, he has a picture where he's tagged with Emmanuel Clase on Instagram. Interesting. I wonder if there's anything that's going on there. It's like, I feel like the system almost worked to a T to find what the issue was in a way.
And I mean, and Nicholas makes a great point too, but your point is a great point. We'll address that first. And that is the way that sports books monitor these bets is the way that they find this before it becomes an ongoing problem. And we learn at a later time that Emmanuel Clase was doing this for 5 years. And it makes you question everything about every game that he's participated in, right?
Yeah.
Like they were able to find it and zero in on it. And honestly, like he was suspended due to the gambling irregularities back in like July, right? So it's like that was immediately found out and they addressed it. They suspended him until the investigation like was concluded and thorough. And now they have enough that they believe that he was in fact doing all of these things that he was alleged to be doing. But also Nicholas makes a great point. Nicholas says the threat of a permanent ban from the sport you love to play should be enough. But either way, they don't love it enough to risk this, or there's more that needs to be done. Maybe it's both. I don't know. I mean, I will say this. This does let players know and lets everyone know that they will figure this out, right? Like that's, like you said, that's the precedent in a way that's been set here. You can try your schemes. You can try to fix games. You can try to do anything you want, but you're not going to sit there and make a fortune off of fixing games without someone figuring out that you're doing it, right? So, and again, that's kind of what Manfred went on to say. He said the ability to discern inappropriate patterns is really, really important. We understood the prop bet issue from the very beginning. I'm glad we've done something about it, but the rest of the program right now, I think we're generally prepared to move forward under the rules that we have now. So no further changes, but the prop bet changes sounds like for the most part, they're going to stay in place. And quite frankly, again, I kind of agree with this. I agree with it on, I think that betting on a game is fun. Betting on a player to hit a home run is fun. Betting on a player to have a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs, that's fun. That's just like you believing in someone and thinking they're going to have a good night. When you're literally like, I think this next pitch is going to be a curveball out of the zone, and it is. Not only is that like a crazy level of in-game betting, right, and live betting, but like also if you're hitting on those, that's got to cause some suspicion, and again, probably something that shouldn't be dialed in that quite that literally.
Yeah, I mean that's really the big differentiator between like, I'm gambling for fun and I'm gambling to win.
Yeah.
I'm gambling to make a profit, and that's my only goal. I'm not in it for the love of the sport.
Yeah. Well, we thank you guys for being here. This is a Tendy Gang meeting. For those of you that may not know, we are a family here, and we have enjoyed many a Tendy dinner together. But thank you, Groundhog Mama, for your super chat. Groundhog Mama says, thank you, PHNX and the Tendy Gang, for supporting Cogs. Nothing makes a parent happier than seeing their child living their dream. Well, I will tell you, this is earned for sure after Cogs walked 6 miles yesterday, but also done an excellent job advancing your career. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for allowing him to be here, Karen.
Yeah, I'll just say this, Cogs, as someone that was not too long ago in your shoes in like doing media, sports media and stuff like that, you are miles ahead of where I was at your age. Like, I was definitely trying to enjoy college and the experience of it a lot more, and didn't take like the actual work experience part as seriously until I got to master's school. And brother, at 18 years old, 19 years old, are you 18? 19 now. I mean, like, the fact that you're doing broadcasts and stuff, unbelievable work.
Good stuff. But
really, really good stuff.
We're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of this break, we are going to talk about Tatsuya Imai and see if he might be a good fit for this Arizona Diamondbacks team, and what exactly it's going to cost, and why it might just be a pipe dream. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, again, big shout out to all of you guys for being here. As you know, nobody does it better than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. It offers an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you just won't find anywhere else. You can, in fact, achieve legendary status by going there for a staycation. Check into any of their 2 triple diamond or AAA diamond resorts, 4 diamond resorts. I'm only giving them 1 diamond. They deserve all 4, and that's because they offer you an unprecedented level of relaxation out there at their resorts. And again, you don't have to travel. I hate traveling, whether it's flying or driving. It's just another stressful part of your trip. So factor that part out. Drive across town 15-20 minutes. Get yourself to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Have yourself a great time. Also, you can check them out for a great night out on the town. You can go all in with over 4,500 slots and live table games, or catch any of the football games out there at their sports book. They have huge screens, delicious food. It's a great way to spend your Sunday. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Speaking of football, make sure to get your football tickets for less over at Game Time. Damon, what time is it?
It's game time, and Derek, I just bought Arizona Wildcats tickets for tomorrow on Game Time.
Let's go.
Unbelievable price, too. I got seats with backs on them for $25.
Let's go. Seats with backs?
Unreal.
And I mean, I'm sure he was discerning about that. He could find a zone deal and just pick an area with seats with backs and let Game Time finish the work for him.
Game Time picks.
Yeah,
Game Time picks. I used it, and I got those $25 tickets in row 3 with a seat with a back. I mean, there's nothing like it.
That's excellent. And of course, Game Time makes it so easy for you to decide if you love the view from those seats. They have that panoramic view, shows you exactly what your view is going to look like. Plus, Game Time is also covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first order. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Well, I know that in the Arizona Diamondbacks history, we have not had very many Japanese players. And again, I also know that the Diamondbacks have always kind of coveted and always kind of been in the conversation for some of these players that make the leap to MLB from Japan. However, they typically strike out. And that usually has to do a little bit with the fact that other teams do have a bit more of a presence in Japan, have a bit more of a presence with Japanese players in their locker room and on their team, a part of their franchise. And overall, makes it a little bit more difficult for the Diamondbacks to get in on some of these big free agents. However, the Diamondbacks have been linked, according to Bleacher Report, to Tatsuya Imai. They have linked the Diamondbacks as the 10th most likely team to sign the free agent all-star pitcher over there from Japan. And again, I know it's unlikely, especially considering the Diamondbacks' budget constraints. However, Mike Hazen has been adamant that those aren't real and that the Diamondbacks do have resources to kind of go out there and get the players they need. But with the posting cost and everything involved here, I'll start off with asking: Is it too unreasonable to imagine the Diamondbacks actually landing Imai?
I don't think it's unreasonable. I would say unlikely is probably the better way to put it. But I mean, we have made a handful of moves over the years that have been surprising in terms of cost.
Shocking.
You look at Zach Greinke back when he signed him, and then just this past season when we signed Corbin Burns. Nobody was expecting them to go out and spend that much money on one player.
Right.
But they've made it known that if the opportunity arises, that they will take that advantage of the opportunity. Imai, I mean, I believe the projected contract isn't too bad at all. I mean, 6 years, $150 million, I believe, is one of the projections that has been thrown around.
For a 27-year-old, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
27-year-old, he went 10-5 last year with a 1.92 ERA, a 1.92 ERA. And again, I think the conversation is dead about will this translate over to Major League Baseball, right? I mean, now when we are seeing the level of competition in the MPB, in Japan in general, it feels like this isn't something that's going to, be a complete disaster. He has a very lengthy career, and so far in his career, he has been a stud. He has absolutely dominated over there in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning of 2022, he has a 2.21 ERA. I mean, he's in the length of his prime right now. 2.6 like K per walks in that same time frame. But the pitch mix is, I think, what will play here. He has a fastball that could touch 99.
Yeah.
He's been described as 4+ pitches, a slider, a changeup, a splitter to go alongside that fastball. He's even incorporating a sinker that happened at the end of last season. And the biggest thing for him is command, which he has finally fixed. He had been struggling with walks a little bit, but he walked 45 batters last year in 106 innings.
I think we have like his baseball savant page here we can take a look at. Not actually baseball savant, but baseball savant adjacent.
Japanese baseball savant.
Japanese baseball savant for sure. And there is a lot of red on there, just for reference, a lot of red. I mean, he is 58-45 in his career with a 3.15 ERA, a picture of consistency. However, last year was one of his best seasons, posting that 1.92 ERA. He struck out 178 batters in 163 2/3 innings. And over his career, he is a 3-time All-Star with 907 strikeouts in nearly 1,000 innings pitched. The Seibu Lions have posted him. I think that's how you say their name. They have posted him. He's available to MLB clubs. And under the posting rules, there's a 45-day negotiation window for MLB teams to get a deal done with him once he's posted. I believe that ends on January 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. So throughout the rest of the year. But here's where things kind of get complicated with Imai. His posting fee, 20% of the first, this is what the team pays to his former team. It's tiered. 20% of the first $25 million of his MLB contract go to them, then 17.5% of the next $25 million go to them, and then 15% on anything above $50 million. So the posting fee is going to be fairly hefty considering, like you said, he is projected to have a 6-year, $150 million deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fraction of what Yoshinobu Yamamoto made when he came over here to the Dodgers, but I mean, he's ace level. He would slot in probably as our number 1 or number 2 alongside Ryan Nelson. And then when Corbin Burns comes back, he would have that deadly 1-2 punch. And Corbin Burns isn't necessarily a power pitcher, but then you have the power pitcher in Imai who can, touch near 100 miles an hour. He would be a perfect fit.
Perfect fit. And again, that's the ace that the Diamondbacks are looking for. And at 6 years, $150 million, I know it's a lot of money over the length of the contract. However, 4 years from now, it'll look like a team-friendly deal. You know what I mean? Like, especially if he works out. And that's where you might have concerns, right? There is something to be said about how much the contract is going to be, very expensive, and it might not align with what the Diamondbacks have to spend. And also taking a big swing like this goes against logical factors for all of the needs that the Diamondbacks have. Not just logical factors, but recency bias about how much a bad signing could hurt us, right? Like, that's got to cause some pause. And I only mean that because the Diamondbacks have already signed some very big names that were proven starters. In fact, labeled as the best available free agent pitcher on the market twice now. And you could argue that neither one of those signings really worked out. So again, there is a lot of risk, and I feel like the Diamondbacks can't really take that much of a financial risk. It's what we have said is the difference between us and the Mets. It's why the Frankie Montas thing broke my internet the other night. It's because the Diamondbacks, again, even though they've had their fair share with Madison Bumgarner of dead money that they've had on their payroll, it's crazy that the Mets can swallow $20 million and just keep it pushing and still be in on all of the top free agents, whereas that would destroy the Diamondbacks. And again, a signing like this that doesn't work out would also completely destroy the Diamondbacks. Like it would handicap them in a way that like they would not be able to be competitive for years to come. Right? That's how devastating a signing like this for this much money that doesn't work out could be for us. Meanwhile, the Dodgers could have it happen to them and like write it off and figure out a way to make money off of his contract and then pay him 20 years from now.
Yeah. I mean, and we've talked about being burned with big free agent signing, pitching wise at least. And, we haven't signed a ton of Japanese players before. I believe it's only Takashi Saito and Yoshihisa Hirano. I think that the Diamondbacks are going more in on their Japanese scouting. This is just speculation, but I mean, I feel like this year and this past year, they're kind of starting to get a little bit more into it. I mean, I know that there have been reports that they've been in on Kazuma Okamoto as well. I'm sure they've been looking at Munetaka Murakami. Obviously, all of these are probably long shot as compared to these guys want to play for the Yankees, for the Dodgers, for the Giants, those sort of teams. But I think we're starting to make a splash in the more international market over there, and I'm excited to see that come to fruition.
I hate to say this, but I mean, there's also like a cultural impact of the cities that those players are in, right? It does make it easier to go to a city that already has a deep Asian community and heritage versus, and not to say that Phoenix doesn't have one, but it's just not as pronounced here. We are more of a Hispanic community here, and that is why typically, a lot of, I think, Hispanic players like to come here because of the fact that they feel comfortable here, especially some of the ones that don't feel comfortable speaking English and are primarily Spanish speaking. And as much as that it is a factor, just like having other Japanese players on your team is a huge factor, right? These guys have looked up to some of these players that now play in the major leagues. So the fact that they could come here and play with someone that they, have either played with before or have looked up to and can now be a teammate of by choice, those factors play into an international signee like this choosing those teams over a team like the Diamondbacks. And it's unfortunate, but it's a factor. I'm sure the Diamondbacks would love to change that, but it's hard to change that without acquiring Japanese players. So like part of that is kind of a, where do they even get started on that? It's not to say it can't happen though, right? It's not realistic. They are a long shot for Imai, but it's possible. And if they go after him again, it's a big financial commitment, especially paying that hefty posting fee overall. But the bigger thing is forget the risk. What's the reward? The reward is that this guy is incredible. He's still 27 years old, and his best years could be ahead of him. And this year in baseball, or in his league, we have his numbers here from 2025. Again, posted some impressive stats in 163 and 2/3 innings pitched. He had that 1.92 ERA. Cogs, a 0.892 whip. 3.96 strikeouts per walks, and then 0.3 home runs allowed per 9 innings pitched. And what a fire picture there of him with the hat coming down. That's incredible. So love it, but still feels like it's a bit of a again, like I said earlier, a bit of a pipe dream there.
Yeah, I mean, that whip under 9 or under 0.9.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's stuff that you just don't see that ever. And I think maybe Justin Verlander did it in 2022 when he won that Cy Young in his 40s. It's stuff that is so absurd. It's such video game numbers. Like a sub-2 ERA is crazy, but it's so much more realistic because you can have factors go wrong and still have that ERA get low.
You can, as they say, be lucky, have a good defense behind you, other things that kept earned runs off the board. But I mean, that's just letting batters get on base. That's, that's walks, that's hits, that's everything. And I mean, he's just incredible. And again, I don't think that fans should have the concern that he, again, will that translate over? Maybe his ERA will be 2.25 here.
Oh, no.
Maybe he'll be 2.50, right? Like, and again, it might not work out. Not everybody does. Not every player will work out, and I do think there's a higher percentage of international players that are working out here because of the scouting, because of all of the information that MLB can gather on these guys and make an informed decision on if they believe their game will translate well over to Major League Baseball. But you could also argue that some of these leagues internationally are just as competitive, if not in some cases, maybe even a tad more so than Major League Baseball. And that is because, these leagues are expanding, the interest in these countries and the love of the sport in other countries is growing. And quite frankly, I have always loved Japan because of the admiration they have for baseball and for pro wrestling. They love the two things that I love. And also rice. I love rice so much.
Mm-hmm.
I could just eat rice all the time. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But Japan, you've been to Japan,
Yes,
right?
I went
they
to
have a
an
reverence for baseball. They have a reverence for certain things. And I mean, again, I think that, again, it's the reason why you see how much the love of baseball and how competitive baseball in Japan is becoming.
It is crazy. I went to an NPB game, Yokohama Bay Stars and Hiroshima Carp. Bay Stars ended up winning it all that year. Just saying. But it is crazy to see, like, baseball fans here are intense and they have passion for the game. But every single fan in that stadium was locked in at all times. They had different chants for every single player that came to bat, every single pitcher that came out. They had their own thing ready. They had their own traditions. And it's every single game, every single time. There's just so much dedication. They eat, sleep, and breathe baseball.
I don't want to give credit to a division rival's fan base, but I will say that the first time I felt that was when I went to a Diamondbacks Giants spring training game in Scottsdale. And it was very much an away game. Like, I was there expecting the crowd, because it's a game that takes place in, Arizona and in the Phoenix metropolitan area, that it would be like a split crowd. No, this was like a 90-10 in favor of the Giants. Everybody wearing jerseys, everybody wearing hats, orange and black everywhere, scorebooks out everywhere on everybody's laps. Like, I was walking around just like what you're describing, just appreciating the engagement of the fans and watching the game. When you go to other parks, no knock, but I've never seen that at Sloan. I've barely ever seen people paying attention to the game at Sloan. They're just out there having a great time. And the same could be said at times for Talking Stick as well, right? Like, some of these spring training facilities are just a vibe, but that was the first time I'd seen those people locked in. Yeah. That's every game in Japan, and that's just the way that they view it. You know what I mean? I could also say very much the same about pro wrestling, believe it or not. They don't have scorebooks, but they're engaged, they're involved. They have all of their, they're very much just not there to get themselves on TV and to get drunk and have a great time. They are there for their love of the thing they're watching, right? So again, it's the reason why I think that the World Baseball Classic team is so good, why they have so many players that come over here and dominate. Like, look at the percentage of these players that are coming over here and being as advertised as far as that goes. So I don't think there's any concern on the Diamondbacks side other than the financial commitment being too much for a team that already has a lot of money committed, to this team. And not only that, but they also want to commit more money and further extend some of these guys like Gabby Moreno and other guys that I'm sure that they want to keep here as well. So it's a conundrum for a team that's still trying to figure out how to keep up with these other teams that can spend so much money and get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, they have. You talk about having the money for it. We have a lot of money locked up in Eduardo Rodriguez right now, and it would be about the same, if not a little bit more money. You talk about moving contracts around. There's been a lot of trade speculation about big money on this team.
I hate that you said that so much.
But
you're right. It is about the same.
It's you looking to save money. Obviously, the rotation's very thin right now. There's a reason we're looking at adding starting pitching. It would be hard to move off of some starting pitching, especially in a guy like him. But if you can find a way to save some money, to get some money to go sign a guy like Tatsuya Imai.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. But they have a lot of money committed and a lot of young guys that I think that they're still very much committed to. So Plus, the future is here, and part of that future is perhaps some players that the Diamondbacks could nab in the Rule 5 draft. Of course, they have to keep those guys on the major league rosters, so we have a few names that we both like in regards to who they could target. We're going to talk about that after this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, Pure Edibles was founded right here in Arizona, and they are a wonderful company that offer you a wide variety of candy choices, not just gummies like most companies offer. They offer you hard candies, chews, soft candies, as well as their kicks, which are their version of Starburst. But more importantly, they've partnered together with another Northern Arizona great and Mother Road Brewing company, which offers you the finest beer in all the land, Tower Station IPA. Now these two come together to form Noble Road and bring you the new Tower Station IPA all in one, where it's happy hour all the time. If you're in Arizona, try this new collab. It's delicious. It's got the crisp citrus and piney hops of Arizona's favorite IPA with just a good tasting high whenever you want it. You can stop by your local dispensaries and grab your Tower Station all in one from Noble Road right now, as well as check out the rest of Pure Edibles products from one of over 130 dispensaries statewide. And another company to pair together with a trip over to a dispensary to check out Pure Edibles is our friends at Circle K. Stop by, get yourself something to drink. They had themselves another 40 cents off gas per gallon yesterday for Inner Circle members. That was terrific. That was amazing. In fact, me and a guy in the parking lot just high-fived while we were, filling up our cars. We were so jazzed about the $2.85 that we paid that we just high-fived. And you can bring that kind of energy to strangers when you stop by Circle K. Also, if you are an Inner Circle member, you can save on all sorts of other great stuff, including get those Polar Pops for 79 cents, Frosters for 99 cents, and you can save more on gas, including saving 30 cents off per gallon when you buy 3 12 to 16 ounce Celsiuses. So do not miss out. Sign up right now. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Well, we were very much focused on the players the Diamondbacks could potentially lose in the Rule 5 draft, and they are still not safe from that. They have a bevy of unprotected players. I guess first, were there any surprises there, especially with Jose Fernandez being protected by the Diamondbacks?
I feel like surprise-wise, there wasn't anything. I was expecting them. I think that they got all the guys that they knew that they wanted. Like, I was not surprised that they grabbed Cole Drake or Mitch Bratt or Dylan Ray. The guys that I maybe would have gone for, I understand why they didn't, but like Christian Robinson, I believe, is a Rule 5 eligible. He's a big outfield. He's been a top prospect. Obviously, He had a lot of legal troubles, but he could still be. I still expect him to be an impact player for this team or some other team. Spencer Geesting's another one. He's really young, but
Spencer Geesting was a surprise that they didn't protect him.
He's in AAA. He's our 20th ranked prospect. He's been really, really good for us. A little bit surprising to not see them do it, but I think they like Mitch Bratt and Cole Drake and Dylan Ray a little bit more.
It's also the idea that when you are so familiar with these players, one, yes, you have to make tough decisions. So in some cases, you just have no choice but to weigh your options and go with who you feel is going to be the better major league ready player. On the other hand, you might know that the players that you're not protecting most likely aren't going to be able to stay on a major league roster for the entire year. So if a team does steal those guys away, there's a good chance they could come back. The Diamondbacks, meanwhile, are in a much different position, especially when it comes to certain positions on the diamond, right? Especially pitching. The Diamondbacks have a vast shortage of arms, and they adopted an ongoing tryout, almost, if you will, throughout the season last year, where it was real opportunities being given to guys, but it wasn't for their development any longer. It was, can you come in here? Can you throw strikes? Can you get outs for this team at a major league level? If you could, you stuck around. If you couldn't, at one point, they weren't even giving you many opportunities before they were DFAing you or sending you back down to Reno, right? So the Diamondbacks have the ability to go out in the Rule 5 draft and perhaps get some guys that they could give that same opportunity to in 2026. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. And they go back to the team that they went back to. Quite frankly, the Diamondbacks are going to have to continue to sift through potential arms that can help them, especially bullpen arms, in that way throughout their own organization. So why not also bring in some guys that are, Rule 5 draft eligible to see what you can do. So we both kind of went in and took a look at some targets. Neither one of us, for some reason, crossed over. So either we're good at this or we're bad at this, and we're both very wrong. It just goes to show you, though, no matter what you're looking at, again, there's guys you like, there's guys that you feel a certain way about, and it all comes down to who has that pedigree essentially to make it at a major league level. So I'll give you the first target. Who do you like there for a Rule 5 draft target?
We'll start off in Atlanta. They did not protect their number 11 prospect, Blake Burkhalter.
It's a pretty solid name.
He has been a starter for a while, but when he made it to AAA this season, he mostly worked in relief. He has a fastball that can touch 98, a cutter that's 91, 92. He has a slider that's got a lot of like a gyro movement. He has a changeup as well. Looking at his prospect savant, he's got some good chase, got some good whiff. He struggles with Ks. He's not a big strikeout pitcher. His walks are also the bigger issue there. He's not getting a lot of swing and miss in the zone, but he had a 3.77 ERA in 31 innings in AAA specifically. Only allowed 3 home runs. He's a guy that can add some oomph to the back of your bullpen, or even in the middle of your bullpen. You can never have too many pitchers that throw hard. Yeah. And that's definitely something the D-backs have lacked in recent years.
Yeah. There's another guy I like from the Angels organization. His name is Jared Southard, I think, or Southard. But he is a relief-only arm. And again, we are thinking along the same lines. First of all, in general, any relief arm feels like they could immediately impact the bullpen. You're not going to get a starting pitcher from the Rule 5 draft. I don't think that's going to stick around at a major league level, especially with Corbin Burnes returning, right? Like that's the bigger problem is that at any point that pitcher, it just might not fit on the roster any longer, and then you lose them back to the organization you took them from. But again, Jared here could definitely, be more feasible to stick around as a bullpen arm. He has a 4-pitch mix, which feels great for a guy at his level. He had a 3.68 ERA last year, 66 innings pitched, a 1.182 whip, a 3.50 strikeout to walk ratio. He throws a sinker as his primary pitch. He's got a 4-seam plus a slider and a curve. He's got a very good strikeout upside. And again, just another guy who the Diamondbacks could give that opportunity to as a reliever. If it works out, then that person, no matter who it is, can become a staple of the bullpen because that opportunity is there. You just have to be able to come in and outpitch the guys right now that are currently there.
Yeah. I actually have an angel of my own.
We all have an angel somewhere behind. Mine's Damon Doug. That's why he's that.
Isn't he everyone's?
He's everyone's.
But Sammy Natera Jr., a guy I believe Angels fans were a little surprised that they didn't protect, especially with the state of the Angels pitching over the past couple of years. He's another power arm, 94, 95, tops out at 98 on the fastball, has a nice slider with sweeping movement, touches 85, good changeup. The biggest thing here is he, in his time in AAA, although the Angels tend to not have their pitchers throw in AAA super often due to them playing in Salt Lake. It's like Reno on steroids, so they'll very often pull guys straight from AA Rocket City. Across AA and AAA, he had a 34.3 K percent. To complement
that's impressive.
He had a nearly 25% walk rate in AAA and 16.9% overall. He's also getting hit pretty hard, a 50% walk, 30% hard hit rate, average exit velocity of like 91. So very boomer bust. He'll make you look silly if you're swinging outside, but if he leaves it in the zone, it's a very easy mistake pitch. All of a sudden, they're up another run. He's got potential. I think he'll see major league playing time somewhere. If he doesn't get claimed, I think the Angels will have him up very quickly to develop and working with that command issue. But I think another big swing and miss guy, again, another power pitcher would be great for this bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping along the same lines, again, another California related team prospect, this time stealing a player away from the Giants, right-handed pitcher Tyler Vogel. Vogel put up an impressive ERA last year in a ton of appearances. In 2025, he had over 50 appearances and had a 2.88 ERA with a very good strikeout rate and very high ground ball rate as well. He did have a pretty high whip, a 1.416 whip, 2.48 strikeouts per walk, and a 0.7 home run per 9 inning rate. He is established, but I mean, he moved quickly through the minor league system. It just showed some advancement there. He pitched in high A, double A, and triple A all in 2025. So I don't know if it's too soon, but it once again makes me think of Abner. It makes me think of a Tatsuya Savage, who both also moved through the organizations quickly within 1 year and made it from like that high A level all the way to the major leagues. And in Tatsuya Savage's case, pitching high leverage innings in the World Series, right? Like that's insane how fast his career went from high A. Sometimes I think that quick trajectory, that quick movement just goes to show how ready you are. And the big problem here would be there's no point to send him to Reno, right? Like there's no point to send any pitcher to Reno, it feels like, unless you just want them to work on a specific pitch or a specific thing, regardless of the results, because sending him to Reno is just going to depress you and make you sad and watch his ERA balloon and be just incredibly, sad. But his stuff projects as a multi-inning reliever, and that's, again, something the Diamondbacks could use. They really didn't have enough guys that could give them up-downs last year, and it just fits really well with a lot of teams out of their bullpen. Plus, again, he already has some experience, so the risk of him being overwhelmed in Major League Baseball here could be lower. But again, Tyler Vogel, a guy who had himself a great 2025.
Yeah, I mean, sticking with pitching, that's the biggest question mark. I have a couple position players on my list, but I'll save them because pitching is the biggest thing we need here. I have a White Sox in Ben Peoples.
Okay.
Ben Peoples has a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and a 90-mile-an-hour slider. He is a two-pitch guy, pitching in relief. He doesn't get hit very hard. The exit velocity stays low. He was a big part of that Adrian Hauser trade at the deadline. Him and Curtis Mead went over from Tampa Bay over to the White Sox. Obviously, he's got walk issues. This happens with a lot of power pitchers. They've got struggling with command. So they'll walk batters. They'll not get swing and miss in the zone. But with a nice fastball slider mix, that's kind of all you need to be an effective reliever. You really only need two pitches that you are really, really good at. And a guy like him, he's got a prospect savant score of 93. It's really high up there. He had a 3.33 ERA across AAA last year as well, a 23% K rate. 12% walk rate, not too bad, but he is a guy that could really, again, impact a back end part of your bullpen with enough development and can even slot in right now as a middle reliever.
The big problem with the available Rule 5 eligible players is there does seem to be some guys that are elite at the top, and you have a good feeling that those guys are going to be taken. I think we've covered the majority of those. And then there's like kind of a distant, gap between talent, and it would happen essentially about less than 10 players in, it feels like, right? So you have to start looking from that point at guys that have certain aspects, certain things that fit teams. But again, for me, it's much harder to go with a position player, especially with that drop off, and considering that the Diamondbacks do have guys that you feel like can play at a major league level and will, like, they're not completely desperate at any particular position. Their options aren't great and their depth definitely isn't great. However, they just have good options, all around the diamond. I think that they need to figure out what they're going to do for a backup catcher behind Gabriel Moreno for sure. That's a necessity almost as much as, the pitching is. But I'm going to stick with one more pitcher I got from the White Sox organization, going along the same lines, and that's Peyton Pallett. Didn't have a great ERA in 2025, but did have a pretty good whip. 64 and a third innings pitched, had a 4.06 ERA, but a 1.119 whip, 3.07 strikeouts per walks. And again, just a high ceiling arm who, if can stay healthy, has a mix of a fastball, a changeup, and get this, a hammer curve. I just love the name of that. It gives them real potential. But the relief role, once again, seems like a good fit. Again, he is a starter, but has pitched out of the bullpen, and as a bullpen piece, obviously he could contribute to a major league team earlier than waiting for a starting role to come up. Also, because of his starting experience, it wouldn't be the worst thing for the Diamondbacks to have an arm in the bullpen who could potentially be there considering how bad their depth is right now at starting pitching, right? They're going to fix that, but even then, when they fix it, they might have 5 starting pitchers in the rotation by the time the season starts. That might not be enough. So I don't hate the idea of having a guy who could step in and maybe show off, his stuff. But also, the Diamondbacks are just such a great team as far as opportunity is concerned. I think that's the biggest thing, is the opportunity for these young guys to come in and earn a spot and grab that brass ring is different than other organizations where that could take much longer for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Diamondbacks, their pitching development has not necessarily struggled in recent years, but it's been hit or miss. We've seen
it's been bad. You can say it's been. I know you try and be nice. Their pitching development has been bad. There have been guys. Ryan Nelson is a perfect example of that, right? But there has just been a big question about that within the organization, as well as a proven track record of guys leaving here and becoming just different elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating, is the Robbie Rays, the Max Scherzers of the world, the guys who were fine here but elsewhere became Cy Young winners and like elite pitchers. You can't help but question, what is the problem with our team that can't develop these guys in the same way that other teams are able to do so?
Yeah, and I think they're starting to address that. I mean, they've definitely changed their pitching philosophies. We saw them in this last draft a lot of college pitchers who throw hard. I mean, Patrick Forbes is one of the names that comes to mind. Just they're looking to be like, okay, maybe we're a little behind on velocity. We need to do that. But I think they're finally getting ready. They're finally trying to make the change that, our pitching development kind of struggles. Let's figure out why and let's fix it now. And I think that they're making good efforts in doing that.
Yeah. Well, what do you got for position players?
Oh boy. Okay, so this one's a bit of a bias pick. I can't lie.
Give it to me.
We
love bias.
He's a Queen Creek native. Went to Queen Creek High School. His name is Jacob Berry. Jacob Berry, former first rounder out of the Miami Marlins organization. He kind of doesn't do anything bad except hit for power. That's really the thing. His biggest problem. Looking at his prospect savant, everything's at least a 40%. So nothing's necessarily worse than about league average, but he does a lot of things. He's getting good contact in the zone. He's not swinging at a lot of strikes. He's got good speed. He's a very plus base runner. I believe stole over 20 bases in AAA Jacksonville for the Marlins. And he's got the links here. His younger brother, Jet Berry, my favorite high school baseball player of all time, also plays for Queen Creek. He is an ASU baseball commit right now. There are ties here that make him really nice, but he also doesn't strike out a lot. A 72nd percentile strikeout rate. In terms of walk rate, it's middling, but a 10% walk rate can absolutely play if you're not striking out a ton.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's got defensive versatility. He can play first, second, third, left, right, and center. So he's kind of a fit-all, a guy that you could kind of find at bats and plate appearances and even leave on your bench to be a late defensive sub as your 25th, 26th man to make him stick.
That's something definitely to think of. Like, a lot of these players might not be everyday regular starters, but it doesn't mean that they can't contribute in a Tim Tawa type of backup role where they can be very valuable to this team, especially a team, quite frankly, that had constant depth issues last year, right? Like, that was the biggest problem, was how often they found themselves stretched due to injuries or other reasons, especially, late game management, trying to have enough righties and lefties to swap guys out based on the pitching matchups and such. But again, these guys, they're long shots still, and even if the Diamondbacks do go out there and acquire themselves a Rule 5 draft pick, be warned that they might not be able to stick around, right? But again, this is, like I said earlier, the team to get an opportunity, especially as a pitcher out of the bullpen, because I don't feel like the Diamondbacks are especially committed to anybody, right? Like, I don't know if anybody. Brandon Garcia was pretty damn good. I still like a Philip Abner, but like, nobody's numbers were good enough to make them, a shoe-in for the bullpen in 2026, considering the current state of it. So, and again, first base, a mess. First base is a mess. So, well, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys for being here, and hopefully we'll see some of these guys make us happy collectively as a family. But we would also love to see you guys out at the Territorial Cup. Sun Devils are doing a live post-game show out at Loco Patron, courtesy of our friends Captain Morgan. I got to do that, right? This is thing. Okay. So go out there, get yourself some Captain Morgan, and find our PHNX Sun Devils guys out there for a live post-game show. at Local Patron on Mill Avenue. I think I am washed. I think I might be too old to be out there. I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to give it my best. Do I keep the mustache when I go out there, or do I need to grow the beard back between now and then?
No, it saved you about 10 years, Derek.
It saved me about, okay, so find Derek with the mustache out there.
Correct.
On Mill Avenue. And following this year's Territorial Cup on November 28th, Totri, Eric, and Shane will be hosting that live post-game show following the game. Come join them approximately 30 minutes after the final whistle for this special opportunity to witness your favorite Sun Devil show in person. So, again, love you guys. Appreciate you guys for that. Another guy we love and appreciate around here, as you know, is the big unit, Randy Johnson. He is beloved on this podcast, and quite frankly, I have a shirt that I'm not allowed to wear anymore due to the curse words on it, but I would be wearing it if I could right now, because the big unit will take center stage for the Seattle Mariners, who are going to also retire Randy Johnson's number 51. There's going to be a big ceremony that takes place where his number 51 jersey will be retired by the Mariners on May 2nd. They just announced this yesterday. I'm very upset about it. Why am I upset about it? I'm going to tell you why. Because even though this is a momentous occasion for Randy Johnson and the Seattle Mariners, it is taking place at 6:40 p.m. on May 2nd against the Kansas City Royals. Those bums from Kansas City don't deserve to be a part of this.
How do you not wait until a D-backs Mariners game?
4 weeks later, Damon. Not even a month later. Not like the Diamondbacks play the Seattle Mariners in August and this ceremony takes place in May, where you're like, we don't want to wait that long to do it. No! 4 weeks later, in the exact same month, in the month of May, the Arizona Diamondbacks go to Seattle. In fact, it's 80s weekend when they're doing this, and it's 90s weekend when the Diamondbacks come into town. There's not even a certainty that the Diamondbacks and Mariners are going to play each other, let alone a certainty that the Diamondbacks are going to travel to Seattle to play the Mariners there for a 3-game set. Not to mention the fact that it's happening 4 weeks after you have this planned event. We couldn't wait 4 weeks for the Diamondbacks to come into town to take part in this. Is the Arizona Diamondbacks not the other? Are you jealous? Is it because he likes us more? What is it? Our weather's nicer here. I don't know what to tell you, but for some reason you seem to be upset and don't want to include us, and I think that is a miss. That should be when this takes place. I am furious about it.
I truly don't get it. Like, there's nothing special. I was like, oh, is it Randy Johnson's birthday on that? No, it's not. His birthday's in September. Why?
Right.
Why? There's no ties. Even if you were like, oh, we're doing it against the Astros or the Yankees, I would go, hey, at least he played there.
At least he played there. It's the Royals. It's so upsetting to me. I can't even take it. I know MLB is bad at scheduling stuff, and I know the Mariners, they don't care about us. They don't care how we feel.
They love our players.
Right, they love our players, and we love their players.
They could at least
we
do
have
us
a
a solid.
We have a bond over stealing great Seattle Mariner players. Jerry Dipoto loves giving us his best players. Maybe that's it. Maybe you're just mad. Is this all about which cap he wore in the Hall of Fame? What is this really about? I just want to know. His number will be retired, the 5th number retired in Mariners history, alongside Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Ichiro Suzuki, and Jackie Robinson, who everybody retired Jackie Robinson's number. So really, just the 4th Mariner to have his number retired there. But what the hell, Seattle? I thought we were closer than this.
I thought we were friends.
I thought we were friends. Well,
what about the Sea Snakes?
Yeah.
The Sea Snakes mean nothing to you?
Yeah. No Seabacks? No Seabacks anymore? I guess, whatever. We gave you Josh Naylor. We gave you Gino back. We were like, we know how much you love him. Here, have him back. Our season sucks.
We gave you 5.5 years of Josh Naylor. Because he's not signing there if we don't trade him there, right?
He's not signing there. He doesn't know that he's beloved there without us trading him there.
They owe us.
You're welcome.
I'll take cash.
I just want Randy Johnson to be on the day we're there. That's all I want. Maybe we can make some changes. But speaking of friends, happy to have my friend Cogs here. Follow Cogs. It's TR Cogs, right?
Yes.
Follow TR Cogs on Twitter, Instagram, I think wherever else he is at.
Everywhere.
I am at cap_caveman with a K. Of course, Damon back there is at Damon Dog with a DAWG. We are all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate your time so much. We will see you not tomorrow because it's Friday. Don't come back here tomorrow. In fact, Go watch some football this weekend. Have a great time. We'll see you back here on Monday at 12 p.m. with another Mailbag Monday question episode. Make sure to send us your questions. Do all of that. Again, follow this guy. Check him out everywhere that Cogs does their stuff. And also make sure to have yourselves a great weekend. We love you guys. We appreciate you for stopping by. Make sure you behave yourselves. Karen. Behave yourselves, Karen. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you talk about it with your friends.
We all silly like the mayor.